The Pittsburgh Steelers aren't done yet making moves, and it's either going to be a free agency signing or another trade, and it's because they literally have to. So, the Pittsburgh Steelers are still $20 million away from the cap spending rule. What does that mean? Well, they have to spend a certain amount of money per season, or else they could be penalized. And the Pittsburgh Steelers are still far away from that. So you can expect a major move to be made here before the season starts. But first, before I get more into that and exactly what it means, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn notifications for everything Pittsburgh Steelers news and updates. Also like this video. Now, let's get right back into it. So, look, after the dust settles with the reporting of the Ramsey and Smith contracts, the Steelers are more than likely to be at least $20 million away from their cash spending goal for the 2025 season. So if you think the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to get rid of a player, get rid of TJ Watt and trade him away, or anything else like that, no, they can't, because then their cap in which they have to spend will increase by even more. So that contract for TJ Watt will end up getting done. And if you think the Steelers are going to trade away TJ Watt, that would remove another $20 million off their cash spending for 2025, and thus creating a $41 million hole. And let's just say for some reason they did decide to move him and get rid of him. Then they would need to sign other players in free agency or trade for other players in the trade markets, which could make up that $41 million. Because this is the business side of the NFL that nobody is talking about. There is a 3-year period where you have to spend up to the cap. And if you don't, you will be penalized. And last year, the Pittsburgh Steelers did not spend up to the cap. So this year, it doesn't look like the Pittsburgh Steelers will spend up to the cap. But they're going all out, it seems like. And next year, it seems it may be a rebuilding type of year, because it's 1 more year of Aaron Rodgers and things of that nature. The draft is in Pittsburgh. They have a lot of draft picks. So next year, it seems like they're a rebuilding year, and they probably won't spend up to the cap next offseason. So this offseason, it looks like they're going all out, and the 3-year period in which I'm talking about, which is the NFL rule, it says in the CBA that you have to spend over 90% of your cap, and the Pittsburgh Steelers just haven't done that. They have so much cap space. So next season, if they don't make moves this offseason, they would have to spend way, way, way over that cap to satisfy the 90% rule. And if they don't make a move, they just won't have the money on the books to fill that void or have a huge cash hit on the books for next season as a filler. So whether that's a TJ Watt extension, whether that's making another trade for a superstar or another free agency signing, the Pittsburgh Steelers literally have to make a move. So let's talk about the moves that the Pittsburgh Steelers can make that could end up satisfying that rule. One of them is the TJ Watt contract extension that I already mentioned in this video of why it will get done. So TJ Watt, the report is earlier this offseason, the Pittsburgh Steelers may not want to make him the highest money per year player in NFL history for a non-quarterback. That was a report. But now recently, it's saying the Pittsburgh Steelers are willing to exceed the Myles Garrett contract and give TJ Watt even more. And it makes sense, because if you sign him to a contract for that much, you can end up satisfying that rule, and you will not be penalized for it later down the road. And the Pittsburgh Steelers have enough cap space to push that money all into this season and have it more upfront type of deal than on the back end. And they can still have more cap space next season or the season after. And they have, $20 million plus they need to spend. And if they push that towards this season instead of next season, they can easily make that contract get done. So it's no thing for the Pittsburgh Steelers where it's just like, oh, they're going to go over the cap. No, they have money to spend and they need to spend it. So that contract can get done, and it makes sense to push the upfront money right now and put the guarantees maybe lower on the back end. So they could give him a contract worth $40+ million and push most of that towards this season, and then next season or the year after have the guarantees go down. And we all know the Pittsburgh Steelers love doing that on contracts. They don't really fully guarantee a contract and have the second and third year or fourth year partially guaranteed. So they can do that based off what their cap looks like right now. So that's one move they can make in a TJ Watt contract. And that's why I believe it will get done and he won't be moved, because they can and literally have to make something happen. So another move they could make for this season to fill that cash void is signing players in free agency. And I made a video on that the other day of some safeties or wide receivers they can target on a 1-year basis. For example, Justin Simmons, he could get a contract that's worth more than just the vet minimum. They could sign Gabe Davis, who could get $5 to $10 million per year. And they could help fill that void by signing these outside free agents, whether that's a wide receiver or a safety position. And on top of that, it's not like you're just signing the players to sign them. No, you actually need a free safety as well. And you actually maybe need another wide receiver depth on your team. So going and signing free agency players, you actually need some help on your team at those positions, and you have to spend money. That's why you can kind of expect something to happen, because they have voids on their team in terms of holes in which they need to fill, and they have money to spend in which they need to fill as well. So another move they can make is maybe something on the trade market, because the Pittsburgh Steelers have been making moves on the trade market recently, trading for DK Metcalf, trading for Jalen Ramsey, trading for Jonnu Smith. They've been making moves, and under Omar Khan as general manager, you can kind of expect anything. So when players come available in the trade markets and their top superstars, now they're starting to be linked to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And now you're starting to think it could actually happen because of the moves the Pittsburgh Steelers made this offseason. So another way they could fill the void is if a free safety comes available, or another wide receiver number 2 comes available. We all know Brandin Ayuk is a mess in the 49ers. So if a wide receiver becomes available or a different player becomes available, the Pittsburgh Steelers could fill that void in which they have to fill by making a trade. And they have enough draft picks to make trades happen. They're stocking up on comp picks and just picks for next year's NFL draft because it's in Pittsburgh, and they could easily make a trade and give up one of those picks and be secure with the amount of draft picks they still have on the back end anyway, and it really doesn't hurt them. So in the trade market, something could happen in which the Pittsburgh Steelers can make something or make a move. So in reality of the situation, something will get done here. Whether it's going to be welcome back to Pittsburgh, Steelers outside linebacker, edge rusher TJ Watt ends his holdout and signs a new contract extension for this many years, or whether it's going to be, hey, the Pittsburgh Steelers, welcome to Pittsburgh, they traded for this player, or welcome to Pittsburgh, the Steelers have signed this player. Something will get done, and you could fully expect it to happen before maybe even training camp starts, or within training camp during the preseason, or at least before the start of the season, or even at the trade deadline, because something has to get done and will get done. And that's just to fill voids on this team and fill voids in the NFL rule book. So the NFL, this is kind of a good rule because you want teams to spend up to the cap. You don't want teams to just be saving money and be like, hey, we're going to save this money and we're just going to keep this money. No, you're going to have to spend and give out contracts. This allows organizations not to be cheap and to be penalized for being cheap. They're encouraged to spend the cap in which they have. And that's why there's a cap hold. There's a cap space for a reason. And the Pittsburgh Steelers haven't been a team that spends a lot, but now it's making them. So the Pittsburgh Steelers, a move will be made, but that's the end of this video. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. How do you feel about this topic? Do you think the Pittsburgh Steelers will spend that money this season? And what do you think it'll be spent on? Do you think it'll be a contract extension, another trade, or another signing? And how do you feel about the Pittsburgh Steelers just not spending money and still having, over $20 million to spend? And who do you want? Which player outside free agency or trade market do you want the Pittsburgh Steelers to go after? Or do you just want it to be a TJ Watt extension that could fill that void? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn notifications for everything Pittsburgh Steelers news, updates, highlights, analysis reports, everything surrounding this team, whether it's the business side of it or whether it's the fun side of it. I have covered this offseason and I'll continue covering it as the offseason goes along. With training camp rolling along here shortly, starting this month, I'm going to have all highlights and analysis for that and all the new players covered. So stay tuned to the channel, like, comment, and subscribe, turn notifications, share the video, and until next time, I'll see you guys all later. That's it for me. I'm out. Peace.